broadcasting live 4 days a week worldwide
from the sunny beaches of Southern California.
This is ExtremeHealthRadio.com.
Hi, this is Dr. Ed Group from Global Healing Center. I hope you tune in and listen to Justin and Kate's Extreme Health Radio. It will transform your life, and you will get all the best health information you need.
So, Kate, we are actually starting on time. Can you believe that? That's the first time in forever we're starting on time. Can't believe it.
It feels good, doesn't it?
And we haven't been on the air for about what feels like 5 years, right?
It does feel like 5 years. It's probably been about 2.5 weeks, but it's so good to be back.
I know, right?
Thanks, everyone, for joining us today.
Yeah, for bearing with us. And I'm sitting here in an apron.
You are.
I never thought I'd be doing a radio show in an apron.
An EMF blocker.
An EMF blocking apron.
You look pretty, though. You look like you're going to bake a cake.
I feel like Martha Stewart there.
You look like her.
Oh, I hope not.
Just kidding.
I sure as heck hope not.
You don't.
Man, so thank you everybody for joining us. This is Extreme Health Radio, and this is episode number 196. And for reference, this is January 29th, 2014. And we've got a really great guest, Anthony Morrocco.
Oh, I've been waiting for this one.
Yeah.
This is going to be good.
Because you used to be a hairstylist, remember?
That's what I keep telling myself.
Right?
I've gotten down to just recently 1 day a week, and hopefully Anthony will just encourage me even more to probably get out of my dangerous field. That I'm super excited about what he has to share with us about just our health and the chemicals that we expose ourselves to. So
yeah,
I'm going to get a lot personally out of the show, and I know there's a bunch of people who just daily use these chemicals, and we need to be aware of them. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. And for those that you that don't know who Anthony Morrocco is, he's known online as the hair shaman. Interesting, very interesting guy. And when I learned that he was interested in raw food and raw vegan, organic, living, or GMO-free hair care products, it just fascinated me. And did you know that all of his products have 92 minerals in them?
No, I did not.
Isn't that crazy?
I've watched a few videos of him, but I did not know that statistic. No.
I mean, what food has that?
Right.
Crazy.
Right.
And he was a hairstylist, and he, back in the day, his clients were Jackie Kennedy Onassis.
Wow.
Mrs. Vincent Astor. I'm not sure who she is.
Ooh, I should know that, but I don't.
But Mia Farrow, Lauren Bacall,
wow.
Joan Rivers, Faye Dunaway,
wow.
Liza Minnelli.
Gee.
Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
So he's been involved in this for 40 years, and I find it very fascinating because recently we had a great talk with, what's his name, Dr. Emile de Toffel from Less EMF. And he was talking about electromagnetic fields and how the cell phones actually break down your blood-brain barrier in your brain.
I do remember that, yeah.
And so I was thinking when we're going to have Anthony on, what happens when people have that blood-brain barrier compromised so that chemicals that are in your blood can now get into your brain, and then you're putting chemicals on your scalp.
Oh, boy.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So people, heavy cell phone users who use toxic products on their hair, I would imagine would have more of an issue. Well, that's a whole new world,
because, we'll get into Anthony's story, but I'm sure people weren't using, cell phones back when they were, when he was doing the hair. So this has just gotten even crazier. We have to protect ourselves that much more.
Yeah, exactly. So his website is MorroccoMethod.com. MORROCCO method.com. And he's got a whole line of raw vegan hair care products, stuff that you've never, I'm sure, heard of before. And just a fascinating guy. So thanks a lot, Anthony, for joining us today. I really appreciate that.
Yeah, I'm really thrilled to be here, and I'm glad you're bringing all this up to the public so we can be very positive. My motto is our health is our wealth. And basically in all fields, I teach basically spokes in a wheel. So hair is one of the... We have all these different spokes. We really want to come to the individual part of being free from it all. So we can be empowered, no matter what's happening, like I teach Qigong. I've been in Qigong for 35 years besides being in hair.
Mm-hmm.
And talking about the electromagnetic fields, that's what's on planet Earth, and then, of course, is being interfered with by our technology. But also with Qigong, basically, that's a whole different era of energy, so you can actually do Qigong exercises and actually counter that whole electromagnetic field where the technology is coming in to bypass it.
Isn't that interesting? Do you practice Qigong every day?
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, we love Qigong. We're big fans of that over here. And yeah, it's a great art, isn't it?
I love Qigong because it's free. It's a very free form of energy, and it's self-healing. I was doing, Tai Chi. I do martial arts a little bit. I do yoga. But Qigong is my favorite because it's so free, and basically you work with nature. So for me to be outdoors with nature, that's where all the secrets are being unraveled by being in nature herself. And we're right on the ocean in Central California, right on the Pacific Ocean, Morro Bay, San Luis Obispo area. I do 2 Qigong classes a week free for my community.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
wow.
Great.
So do you do them grounded with your feet on the grass, I'm sure, and all that?
Yeah, shoes off, socks off, barefooted, outside, grass. And then right in back of my house, I live in a 10-level castle overlooking the bay.
Wow.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah, well, at 70 years old, you really want to empower yourself to have all the desires in your life that you really want. So I don't need 18 houses, but the one I have is the Venetian Palace. It's pretty amazing. It's 80 miles of the Pacific coast.
Wow, that's amazing. So my wife Kate here, our co-host, is actually a hairstylist as well. We like to say she was a hairstylist because we're moving away to kind of doing something similar you did. Back in the 60s, didn't you just walk away from your practice when you finally realized how dangerous it really was?
Yes, I did. I started here in 1964. So I'm now celebrating my 50th anniversary.
Wow.
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. Wow. So what happened at that time? Did you just read some information, or did someone talk with you about this, how toxic it really was?
So it's not that simple. I basically was working at Kenneth's, which is the most famous salon in the world.
Right. Yeah.
It was like there was Michelangelo was Kenneth and Leonardo da Vinci was Rosemary. So,
Totally.
yeah, seriously, I mean, like, there's no doubt about it, and the whole world, anybody who knows
Right.
that Rosemary Sorrentino was the world's #1 colorist that no one could ever come close to, not even hold a candle.
Gee.
No one could come close to Kenneth. No one. And he was like Michelangelo. So if you look at that, and the laundry list that flew in and out of New York City to go to Kenneth and Rosemary was staggering. And I was there 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
That's how I got to meet the rich and famous, the most powerful people on planet Earth, or the most famous people on planet Earth. And
Yeah.
I have some wild stories. You can go on my website, MorroccoMethod.com, and look under videos, and I have an e-book and an audio book.
Uh-huh.
It is free. You can just go ahead and listen to or read my audio book. It'll tell you some wild stories about being a chemist. So getting back to your question, what made me walk out of chemicals? Well, I was a master hair colorist under Rosemary Sorrentino, and we were doing things that were staggering the mind back in the 60s. Today, they would stagger anyone's mind even more so, because there's not too many hairdressers that know very much. Back in the day, they were really artists. Now they're just pumping chemicals and selling products.
Ain't that the truth?
Mm-hmm.
It is the truth, and anybody who really, goes in a salon knows that, or they're in denial.
Yeah.
So there's chemicals going on. But we were doing, like Rosemary invented the tortoiseshell streaks, which is now called sun streaking. She was a maestro. She is the maestro. She was working for all the hair product lines in the world, like Rue and Clairol, all of them big players, and we were doing a lot of work. They were sending models in from all over the world to do their hair.
Wow.
4 years, when I realized the chemicals that we were handling and the damage that it was causing not only to myself and my coworkers, but to my clients, like Jackie Kennedy, for example, Jackie Kennedy Onassis. I started working on her in 1964, but she had been coming to Kenneth for years before that. You know, she died of a brain tumor from the coal tar from her hair dye.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, so I know that as a fact because not only being her hairdresser, I was very close to John at the end. He told me that's never been really published or public. It's never been put in the public eye.
Interesting.
Jackie Kennedy Onassis died of a brain tumor from the coal dye from her hair dye.
Isn't that crazy? That's wild. Yeah.
Frightening.
Yeah, that's frightening. So she was getting her hair dyed her whole life then?
Yeah, they all were.
Yeah.
They all were. Everybody was basically like, they were all basically having sun streaking or dye or bleach. All that stuff was going on in the salons. But if you look at a person like Jackie Kennedy Onassis, I mean, just taking out one example, she would certainly collect anybody in the whole world would be more than anxious to cure her, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the doctors and the medical world found out about this and they couldn't do anything about it, you realize how deadly some of this stuff is. So we're going to get into that later on. But I walked out of $1 million career, and I was 27 years old.
Oh my gosh!
So had you been saving up, or I'm sure you had money that you could fall back on, where you could kind of step back for a while and figure out what you were going to do? I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm a Taurus. I'm very grounded. I'm ruled by Venus. That's why I live in a castle, and I do. And if it's not the ultimate, I have no interest in it. So when I left Kenneth, I went to Europe for 2.5 years and didn't work. Went on a sabbatical. So I worked at Kenneth for 4 years, and then when I walked out of the hair coloring and realized I'd never do chemicals again, then I got on, of course, I would get on the most luxury liner in the world. I got on the Leonardo da Vinci out of New York City, sailed to Genoa, 13 days, one of the most fabulous vacations of my life.
Wow.
I bought a Ferrari in Genoa.
Wow.
Of course you did.
Yeah.
Yeah, but all right. And then I toured Italy for a year, and I just went any place I wanted to with no agenda. So what I was doing, I was going up into the mountains with the farmers and go down to the little villages on the seacoast. And what I would do is I would first of all seek out the local hairdresser. Little villages, not the cities. I didn't do this in the cities, but I would also seek out the botanist, the local witch doctor, the person who was doing all the botany, very primitive.
Mm-hmm.
Then I studied 17 and 18th century wood carving, but that's another story that I'll tell you.
That's another show altogether.
So I would go to the hairdressers, and sometimes they had dialects. I'm Italian. I'm from Venice, and my dad's from Naples. But the dialects are really tutto pazzo. They're very difficult. Difficile. So I would basically start, sign language, and we got along great. And I would go into their usually in their home, in the cottage where they were cutting, and I would watch them cut, and then I would walk up and take the scissors out of their hands and the comb, and then I would do my cutting. I'd give them the scissors back. So they would start realizing that my technique that I learned from Kenneth, the blunt snip cutting, and then I would watch their technique, and that would go back and forth. And then we also got involved with the lunar cycle. So I basically am very empowered with the lunar cycle. So I teach 5. So my hair care line is 5 elements: fire, air, earth, water, ether. So I have 5 shampoos: fire, air, earth, water, shampoo, and ether. And also my conditioners are 5. We have 5 fingers. Hey, 5 toes. Wow. We have 5 senses: taste, smell, seeing, feeling, right?
Right.
And there's 5 types of hair on the body, which hardly anybody's ever heard of. And these 5 different types of hair that we have on our body do 5 different types of work with qi.
Mm-hmm.
I am so fascinated with qigong because it comes back into the 5 types of hair. And the qi isn't stored in our physical cells and body, it's stored in our hair.
Interesting. Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. So what happens? The qi somehow gets stored in the hair just from whatever life force people have?
Well, it's not that simple.
Yeah.
But I'll make it a very simple. Montauk Chia is #1 world Qigong master today. Montauk, Montak, Chia, Chia. He's home based out of Thailand, and he tours the world constantly. Hundreds of books. One of the books is called Golden Elixir. So anybody who's really interested in the 5 types of hair and how this Chi is stored, can pick up that book, Golden Elixir by Montauk Chia, and he's documented tens of thousands of years of information about hair, Qi, and Qigong. So that brings me back, I have so much to talk about, I sort of like go around.
No, it's fascinating. It's great.
So we go back to the 5 elements, right? And then we talk about, what we're putting in our body. And then we look at the coarse body, the physical body, right? It's just the cells and organs and flesh and all these different things that make it up. Mm-hmm. When we start off, what I teach for basic Qigong is the pyramid. So the top of the pyramid is the mystery. So no one will ever know what that is, and that's called the Tao. Then you come down to the second level, which is the yin and yang, the male and female, lunar and solar. Mm-hmm. And then we come down to 3, which is negative, positive, and neutral. Then we come down to 4, which is the 4 seasons. That also gets us involved in the lunar cycle, which we've sort of lost, but I'll get back to the lunar and how important it is to our global environment, into the individual. And then we come down to 5, which what I teach is the 5 elements, and then 5 fingers, 5 toes, 5 types of hair. Mm-hmm. Then when we leave the 5, we come to 6, and that brings us into our 6th sense.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
So when we get, we come into our intuition, we come into I knew I should have done that, why didn't I do that? The past, the future, the present, all those things are in our 6th dimension.
Right.
There's 13 dimensions, but I don't go below 6 because when you get down to 7 and 8, you're into masterhoods, and then when you reach 13, you're at the level of Buddha and Christ.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah, so the planet Earth in our solar system, in our whole universe, is level 1 to 13. So I teach level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then try to introduce people into 6. So how do we do that, coming back to your questions about hair? Mm-hmm. All right. So first of all, level 1, which is the mystery and magic of the whole thing, and that's why I get excited when I get out of bed in the morning. Because I don't get out of bed and say, oh, God, I have to go to work. Oh, my God, I got to face this situation. No, I fly out of bed. I'm really pulsating. I do my breathing exercises. I try Qigong. By the time I hit the deck, I'm pretty, ready. And I'm really excited about the day because there's so many things that are positive to be done and so many things that I just don't have to do anything about that makes life exciting. But so I say in level 1, so it's the mystery and magic. So the universe doesn't explain that to us because if we ever knew about it, man would interfere and actually probably crash the universal laws. So we're not to touch them. So we can see what we're doing on planet Earth, and that's bad enough, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So anybody who has, any type of feeling, can just feel around or look around or smell or taste or hear what's going on planet Earth. So that's our responsibility as man-women, right? Mankind, womankind, the planet Earth. But then I say, what's the most powerful food on planet Earth? So if we're raw, we're vegan, we're vegetarian, or we're even just concerned about our health, so what would you say would be the most powerful #1 food on planet Earth?
Gosh, that's almost too hard to pick. Just one food?
Oh, yeah, just one food.
Oh, gosh. Maybe chlorophyll. I don't know. Chlorophyll?
That's a good answer.
All right, so three guesses?
Oh, 3 guesses. Okay, let's see.
Chlorophyll was a good one.
Superfoods, maybe?
Yeah.
Gosh.
And we're challenging our audience. I want our audience out there now. I want you to be active. Qigong life and the passion of living is to be active. So let's all be active. We can sit at different points and be neutral and, put our gears in neutral. But let's go into first gear, right? Let's all think about and ponder upon, and then really say, like, what is the most powerful food on planet Earth? So I'm going to leave you there. We'll come back to that. So I'm going to make a thing here. So later on, because I like people to ponder. So
yeah, let's do that.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, let's take
it really
a little break.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Let's take a little break, and
Okay.
Kate and I will brainstorm about some of the most powerful or the most powerful food.
Okay.
I'm thinking spirulina. I don't know. So we'll take a break. We'll be right back with Anthony Morrocco, and his website is MorroccoMethod.com. And there's lots of different ways to join the show. Everyone, just want to let you know we launched a brand new forum lately, and there's links to that on the website. You can go to our live show page and you can listen live and join the chat room, and you can send an email in, and lots of different ways to join the show. So please do that. And we're going to be right back with Anthony Morrocco after this break. I have to say, I have been absolutely loving this product by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar called Good Morning, Good Evening Qigong. If you want to listen to the interview we did with Tristan, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/127. And Qigong is a great way to de-stress the body. And as you know, there's a huge component to disease caused by stress. And stress is a huge factor in how we live our lives and the amount of energy we have and the amount of vitality we have. And so, Dr. Shade, what do you think about Qigong?
People come to me and they're really sick and they got this blown out neurological system and all this toxicity. And I tell them, you need to do Qigong, Tai Chi. You need to do these things that settle down and restore your neurology, because it puts together all the parts. It puts you back into that state where you can start to detoxify. And so I highly, highly recommend all that.
And what about you, Kit Campbell? What do you think about Qigong? Do you like it as well?
Qigong is amazing. And the reason that I believe it to be amazing is everything here is energy. That is a scientific fact, if there ever is one. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually drawing energy into your body. Your intention, whatever your intention is behind any action, will determine the level of energy, type of energy that you absorb into your body. So your intention behind is very important, just like thought. So when you're practicing Qigong, you're actually bringing energy in and you're bringing out the stuff that might be a bit stale. With Tai Chi, it's totally different. The energy runs underneath the skin because it's more of a martial. This is the Chinese understanding, by the way. It's more of a martial art. So Qigong is very, very good for bringing that energy into the body, and just fantastic.
If you're interested in picking up this Qigong course by Tristan Truscott and Peter Ragnar, go to extremehealthradio.com/Qigong. That's QIGONG. And you can learn more about it. There's a great video on that page, and you can learn more about it on that page. And I highly, highly recommend this product. I love it myself, so go ahead and check that out. extremehealthradio.com/Qigong.
Listener supported. Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Don't forget to join our thriving community for health tips, inspiration, and show updates at extremehealthradio.com/Facebook.
All right. Well, during the break, Kate and I were trying to figure out what the heck is the most powerful food in the world, right?
Anthony Morrocco sure threw a curveball there.
He threw us a loop, didn't he?
We've been racking our brains the last 2 minutes, haven't we?
Hopefully you're enjoying this show. This is episode number 196. So if you'd like to comment on this, if you have any comments, you can go to that show page and post your comments or join the forum, anything like that. And if you're interested in that Qigong product, let me know. I'd love to answer any questions for you. It's a really great product. Kate and I use it all the time, and good stuff. You can listen to the shows we did with Tristan Truscott as well. And as the lady said, don't forget to follow us on Facebook. Love to have you a part of all that. There's a great community over there, and you can keep up to date with our shows and keep up to date with our archive shows and show schedule and all that good stuff. And so, Kate, what was your guess on the most powerful food?
Oh, it's a really tough question, but I'm going to guess some kind of seaweed, kelp.
Okay. My guess was maybe ocean-grown wheatgrass for the minerals, and I think you're on the kelp thing for the minerals, right?
Yeah, that's where I'm going, but I could be completely off. There's also a chat room member wrote in and said they know that Anthony's vegan, but they're wondering colostrum, perhaps?
So, yeah. So what do you think, Anthony? What is the most powerful food?
Well, I know what it is, and when I tell you, you're all going to be like, oh.
How stupid are we, right?
Yeah.
But what I'm going to do right now is I'm not going to tell you.
Okay.
So what we're going to do is, like, the reason why you ask questions is not to get it answered, is that you want yourself, first of all, to, like, question yourself. You know, what's going on? What am I doing? How is it happening? You know, how did I get here? Where am I? So that's a really powerful part to be in life. So I'm going to answer it later on. I've actually put it down here as that's our number one part of the pyramid, right?
Right.
Okay, right.
But I want the audience and ourselves to ponder that for a little while, and I'm going to answer it. And when I come to that, you'll put the whole 5 together, and you'll be coming to another dimension. Excuse me.
Oh.
Interesting. You know what? I had a thought there. I think my guess is perhaps oxygen, because you're breathing in perhaps the chi and the nutrients. But we'll get back to that. That's just
good to throw it out there.
Just an idea. So where were we going, Anthony, before that?
Okay, so now we're going down to level 2, which is the yin and yang.
Okay.
And that's the male, female, solar, lunar, right?
Right.
So that's, around, and that's where we go into the lunar cycle. And I teach people about cutting your hair in the lunar cycle because it's very powerful. If you cut your hair on the wrong date, you can be Samson and Delilah syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
This is fascinating.
Another website called thehairshaman.com. So if it intrigues anyone, go on hairshaman.com. And on there's biblical stories and there's fairy tales all about hair. And if and in my ebook, which I also suggest if you want to get my ebook or my audio book free, go to MorroccoMethod.com, go to videos, go under audio ebook, and there's an unraveling about Samson and Delilah. So I'm basically suggesting that Delilah cut Samson's hair on the wrong date.
Oh, wow, okay.
So he lost his power. And so when you look at with the lunar cycle, tens of thousands of years, I've studied with hair shamans in the jungles around the world, and they still use the lunar cycle. I mean, all the indigenous people, tribal people, from the Mayan calendar till today, but not so many civilized people. But you can cut your hair. There's 5 dates a month. So if you have 5 choices every month. You can do lengthening or strengthening or thickening or root work or beautifying.
Wow. So, Anthony, you also do, from looking at your information for quite some time, you also do some crazy things with when you pick your herbs and all the ingredients that goes into your products. You pick those on a lunar cycle too, don't you?
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. It brings me back to my trip to Italy, and I'm touring Italy for a year, and I'm working with the local botanists and hairdressers. So it's called Wild Crafted.
Wild Crafted.
For tens of thousands of years is that the local people who are gifted enough to do botany, like they're going to go up into the fields or up into the mountains, they're going to pick leaves, flowers, roots, branches. So you have to ask the spirits permission before you can even pick.
Wow.
When you have to pick on the lunar cycle. What day is it correct to pick? Like, let's say we're going to pick some flowers. Mm-hmm. Or you're going to pick some type of botanical, like something wild up in the hills. Mm-hmm. Like, do all that. You chart it out with the lunar cycle, so you know what days to pick, what days not to pick. Then when you get up there, I think if people understand Finhorn, if anyone Googles Finhorn in Scotland, you'll get a better understanding. But you have to get up in the mountains. The American Indians and all the tribal people, they would go to the plant. They would bow down, pray, and ask permission to pick a leaf or pick a raw petal. The same thing when you're hunting and fishing. You don't just kill an animal. You have to bow. You have to basically pray to the spirits to give you permission to get a fish or to kill a buffalo. And if the spirits didn't give you permission, you had to wait 1, 3, 5, 10 days. And people would have to fast. Some tribes would have to fast for long periods of time because the spirits were not giving them permission to hunt for fish.
This might be a crazy question, but how did they know if they were, like, how did they get that permission?
Well, because they were in the 5 elements.
Oh.
So they were tapped in. What a beautiful way to exist, isn't it?
That paints such a beautiful picture, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
All of us used to live in the lunar cycle and with the spirit worlds. All of us were living in that. Mm-hmm. And then the modern world, we've gotten to modernize and with the Industrial Revolution, blah, blah, blah. But the conversations are vast, as you can see.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Coming back to 2, and then we come back to the lunar cycle, I'm just bringing in the mystery and magic again of, like, fairy tales with hair, biblical stories about hair. So then we come down to 3. So level 3 basically is we're going into the negative, positive, and neutral. And we look at, so if you go out in nature, that's why I love Qigong, because when you go out in nature, it starts telling us our secrets. And that, Stephanie, answers your question of, like, how did they know? Mm-hmm. Well, because they live with nature. We used to live with nature. We used to get up in the morning with the sun. We'd go out with the seasons. We basically lived completely in harmony with nature, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so it brings us down to, like, what are we doing today with our lives? We go to the box store. We go online and order things. We cut our hair anytime we want. So we're so out of sync with nature. And so the thing is really vast. But negative, positive, and neutral is the Father, the Son, and the child. The Father, the Son, the Holy Ghost. Mother, Father, Son, daughter, right?
Mother, Father, Child. Yeah.
So that's another dimension of the trilogy. Negative, positive, neutral. When you're talking about the electromagnetic currents, what you were talking about earlier, and then what's happening with our technology interfering with the natural electromagnetic currents. So that that's the dimension of 3 in the universal structure. And Qigong basically bypasses that. So when a person does Qigong, they raise the Qi, they bypass the electromagnetic current. It's very complicated, so I'm making it really simple.
Yeah.
So when I teach Qigong basic exercises, I teach people how to pulsate the Qi, how to get the Qi to pulsate in the palms of the hands, how to pulsate it in the soles of your feet, in the crown chakra, how to move the Qi around the body, and then how to heal ourselves. And that's basically coming back to, when I'm in Europe, back in the late 60s again, going around studying botany and studying hair cutting and the lunar cycle. And that's why I walked out of chemicals from chemists. And then I started realizing that I was going to create a hair care line called the 5 Elements. And that's what I've done. That's what I do today. That's my power. That's my passion. And I help people detox. So detox is a huge part. What goes in has to come out. So I'm going to tease you again about the question about what's the most powerful food on planet Earth. And so everything is a coin. The other side of the coin is detox. So what's going in? How does it come out? It's got a detox, right? Mm-hmm. So my hair care products detox. So Stephanie, you probably realize as a hairdresser that when you're putting all this stuff on your hair, 70% is ingested into the body.
Yeah, 70% is put into the body. So when people are doing hair color, Kate, and Anthony, you know this, I'm guessing, do most people get the color all the way down to the root, so the color goes into the root and affects?
All the bleach and all the hair dyes have gas, and even if you're applying the bleach or the dye onto the hair, it's not touching the scalp. So, but the gases are going into your scalp.
Yeah, wow. It's so interesting with this kind of stuff. I was watching something with you recently. You were even talking about people blow drying your hair. You were saying something like you don't even want to blow dry your hair because you're affecting the Qi in the hair. Is that right?
Well, thank you. That brings us up to another dimension of the 5 elements with the 5 types of hair. So if the Qi stores in the hair, which Montauk Chia has proven it does through Qigong Masterhood, the hairdressers say hair is dead. You ask a hairdresser, is your hair alive or dead? They say, oh, And why do they say it's dead? Because when you cut it, do you scream? Do you cry? Do you have pain?
Right.
Physically, no. But spiritually and psychically and chi, yes. So when you're bleaching your hair, dyeing your hair, you're blow-drying your hair, you're actually destroying the very power of the hair on our body. So I also go into that in my book, and I go like, if you look at seaweed, okay, if you look at seaweed as an evolution, and you start coming out of the sea onto the planet Earth, and you start looking at grasses, then they're evolving over to plants, to leaves, right, to trees, and that evolves to our hair. The evolution of seaweed and grasses millions and billions of years ago has evolved slowly, so there's like gases, there's water, there's seaweed, then there's fish, they're coming out of the sea, they're turning into like butterflies, right? They're little caterpillars. The evolution, right? You following me?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So we're evolving to mankind eventually we have the hippocampus, we have the mermaids. It's a very biblical thing. It's too long to get into. But I'm trying to bring you really fastly into, so we've evolved slowly into like coming up, to like, I don't know, you want to go in Darwin, but I don't want to go there.
Uh-huh.
We're coming into monkeys, and then we're coming into the beginning of the caveman.
Mm-hmm.
That is, our hair on our body has come from the seaweed and the grasses of planet Earth.
Yeah, that's interesting because I've heard you talk about that, where you look at trees and you look at the leaves, and that's the extension. That's probably where the chi's stored in the tree, and then all these different things in nature kind of show us the same thing as what our hair is, isn't it?
Yeah. So when the chi is coming down, it's not entering the roots of the tree.
Uh-huh.
The chi is entering the pine needles or the leaves.
Okay.
And so is the sun. So is the air. All of the elements, fire, air, earth, water, ether, the sun, fire, right?
Mm-hmm.
All the 5 elements that are touching anything alive is entering the most subtle part of the being, like if it's a plant, if it's a tree, if it's a bush, if it's a person, if it's an animal, the fur. The first thing it touches is the fur. So when like a cat goes into fear mode, the hair stands up on end. When the person really fearful, our hair stands up, right?
Right.
People say, "Oh my God, my hair's standing up on end." What does that mean? It means it's full of chi, and the chi is reacting.
Wow. So, Anthony, what would you say for people, a lot of men, and I think I heard you mention recently that it's like 70% of men have thinning hair. I have thinning hair myself, and I think you said it's an epidemic where 30% of women now have thinning hair. If someone's like, let's say someone's like a Michael Jordan type, if they're completely shaved, have no hair, does the chi go somewhere else, or does this affect the ability of that person to store chi, or how does that work?
Great question. Yeah, so let's go to the very beginning of someone who's basically cue ball, doesn't have any hair, with someone shaving their head.
I love that cue ball. That's great.
Great reference.
If you look at, there's different dimensions of the 13 that I teach. I teach 1 through 6, but there's 13 dimensions.
Mm-hmm.
You look at Buddha basically was a cue ball.
Right.
And if you look at Christ had hair probably down to his waist.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm.
Then, there's spiritual masters, there's spiritual teachers. So there's 5 types of hair on the body. So you're getting me to divulge that information early.
Roundabout way, right?
You're going to get it. Now, if you've got hair on your head or no hair on your head, you still have the 5th type of hair, which is the crown chakra.
Okay.
Then we come down to the 2nd type of hair, which is our beard. All right. So when women basically get elderly, they start getting little beard hairs. Start getting little hairs on their beard.
Uh-huh.
Right.
It's nothing to do with men. It's everybody. And then the 3rd hair is our nose, hair, ears, eyelashes, and eyebrows.
Okay.
Very subtle. Mm-hmm. Then we come to the 4th dimension of hair, the hair on the body. So you people shaving your body, you better be really aware of what you're doing. A lot of guys shave their backs. A lot of people shave their chest. and they shave their pubic hair. It's like, whoa, do you have any idea of what you're doing?
Oh, wow. I never thought about that.
I never thought about that.
Wow. Yeah, because that's a big trend nowadays with men, shaving, what do they call it, manscaping and all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, then you got women, shaving your legs, shaving your armpits. Mm-hmm. In Europe, if you look at the indigenous women, they did not do that. Mm-hmm. Suggesting that women should run around like cave women. I'm saying that look at my lunar cycle, and I list the days to cut your hair and the days not to cut your hair. There's days when you can use, shaving your legs and days not to shave your legs and armpits. So that's all under the lunar cycle.
Wow.
But coming to the fourth dimension of hair, we have the hair on the body, right? So the fifth type of hair on the body is the pubic hair. Mm-hmm. So we have 5 types of hair on the body. We have 5 elements. We have 5 senses. So there's answering your question about, if I have my hair is thinning or if I have no hair on my head, what am I doing? Well, first of all, if you're shaving your head, you certainly want to use the lunar cycle. So go on my website, MorroccoMethod.com, or you can even go to thehairshaman.com, and I have a lunar cycle chart listed, and it gives you 5 days a month. So let's say that your hair is thinning. Well, you certainly don't want to do lengthening. You don't want to do beautifying. What you want to do is you want to do strengthening, thickening, and root work. So 1 month you'll cut on the thickening. The next time you cut, it could be on the strengthening, and the next time you cut will be on the root work. Is that clear?
That is very clear. We're going to take a little break here and talk maybe a little bit more about this after the break because
I want to revisit this. This is stuff, I've been in the hair world for, 15, 17 years, and it's stuff you never, who knows this stuff? It's amazing.
Definitely not taught in school. So we're going to be right back with Anthony Morrocco, and this is just great information. So we'll be right back after this break. The history of heat therapy dates back over 2,400 years, and it was Hippocrates who said, "Give me the power to produce fever, and I will cure all disease." This FDA-approved medical device called the Biomat is a mat that you can lay on, read on, sleep on, do yoga on, sit on, and it can be used on office chairs, massage tables, and the like to help the body heal itself. It's inlaid with 30 pounds of healing crystals using amethyst and a rare black tourmaline producing negative ions in a healing electrical field. These healing crystals help to restore cellular health by replacing electrons to the atoms as well as penetrating deep into the body by 4 to 6 inches. What can the Biomat do for you? It'll improve your skin, burns as many calories as if you went jogging for 30 minutes. It improves the immune system by up to 40% or more, reduces stress and fatigue, removes toxins, lowers cholesterol, relieves pain, revitalizes cellular metabolism. It improves cell channels to deliver nutrients and oxygen to every one of your cells. It activates over 3,000 enzymes. And even a Harvard medical study showed cancer cells die at over 42 degrees Celsius. It reduces stress hormones by up to 78%. It allows your body to produce heat shock proteins, which increases endorphins, NK cells, T cells, and lymphocytes. It's very, very low EMF, and it's got a 17-layer technology. Dr. Mark Serkis is the director of the International Medical Veritas Association. Explain to us more about these biomats.
These biomats are these far infrared mattresses. You lay on them, or you sleep on them, or both. You do very heavy treatments during the day, and at night you sleep at just a nice comfortable temperature. These biomats are like these love machines, comfort machines, and healing machines, because what they do is they just radiate out light, far infrared light, and you can radiate yourself all night long while you're sleeping when you're not doing anything else. And what happens is this light penetrates the body and turns to heat. And the first thing that happens when you bring your core body temperature up 1 degree is your immune system strength increases by 40-50%. They feel when you lay down on them, you guys know, you have one. So it's like the feeling is so good. It's like being in the cuddling with a lover, your wife or husband. It's just warmth and comfort.
How are you using biomats for patients in your clinics?
The cancer treatment using heat is very aggressive, meaning during the day, you sandwich yourself in between two of them, turn it on to high heat, and bake the cancer. The cancer will die before you will. No, this is, you can go to England and spend $20,000 and use microwave a cancer out of existence. These biomats basically do the same thing. Radiation therapy for cancer is really a solid idea. Unfortunately, oncologists use the wrong radiation. They use radiation that kills you. This biomat uses radiation that can save your life and make your life more comfortable, keep you warm in the cold, and help take care of your kids and all. The list doesn't end.
Yeah, because isn't there some sort of temperature at which cancer cells will start dying?
Right, and it's below the temperature that human cells will die.
So you really like this biomat far infrared technology, don't you?
But it's strengthened me. Well, now the kids are addicted to it. They fight on who's going to sleep on it at night. And it not only changed my life, but it changed my medical practice and my books. This is a great machine for anybody who lives in the cold during the winter. Instead of heating a big house, you just heat yourself. Bottom line, it brings good feelings. Just lay on this biomat, and it gives the strength back.
I can attest to that indeed. Kate and I love ours, and we think you will too. Learn more about these amazing biomats at extremehealthradio.com/biomat. Or you could check them out in our store as well. Again, that's extremehealthradio.com/biomat.
All free shows, all the time on Extreme Health Radio. Opening minds and transforming lives worldwide. Join our community today. Sign up to our email list and instantly get our free gift to you, along with loads of inspirational content and cutting-edge tips to help change your life at extremehealthradio.com/subscribe.
All right, we're having one of the more fascinating conversations we've ever had about hair, huh?
Right? Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So much more to it than your average hairstylist knows, right? I would
Puts
say.
me to shame.
I know, right?
I feel sorry for all my clients.
wow.
Goodness.
So I just want to remind you guys, if you have any questions about that biomat, we love it. And if you have any questions, I'd love to help you out in case you want to know anything more about it. And as the lady said, don't forget to sign up to our newsletter list. Actually, at the moment, we are giving away a free Squatty Potty, and it's our intention to give away one item a month that we carefully select. And if you go to extremehealthradio.com/win, you'll be able to sign up to our newsletter list and get that ebook as well as enter the contest. So that's happening for the month of January. So if you're interested in that, you can check that out. And also, lots going on in the chat room, right? People are chatting about the show.
Oh my goodness! So what has happened on the break? I want to bring this up to Anthony. Anthony, we have people talking about dreadlocks, and someone says, "Isn't this what dreadlocks are about too? Naturally letting the hair grow / mat for energy." And it's got people talking in the chat room. Someone wrote in, I think they were called jata. I Wikipedia'd it. One of the most ancient ways to wear hair. What are your thoughts on this, Anthony?
Wow.
Yeah, I'm glad they're bringing that up because, of course, there's all these different different regions of the world, different peoples, but it's all hair. And then with the dreadlocks, of course, it's like a religion. Some people basically never cut their hair. They let it grow as long as they want. So that's where the chi is stored. So they're basically looking at, feeling, sensing, becoming aware of, yes, of course. So if you don't cut your hair at all, dreadlocks, getting it down to, Rapunzel, right? There's a fairy tale called Rapunzel. I mentioned that in my ebook.
Right.
And it's all about, hair getting as long as Rapunzel and letting it down. Where is it going down to? It's going down to the earth. And then bringing up the witch, and it's also bringing up her other half, right?
Wow.
So the hair stores the chi and so that makes the hair go back down towards the earth. Kind of, so it's looking for more chi almost from the earth.
Well, I'm not going to answer your question now because you have to look at the fairy tale and the biblical stories.
Okay.
And then if you answer the question like direct, then you destroy it.
Okay.
So it's the same thing I asked you about what's the most powerful food on planet Earth. I didn't answer it. I'm going to before we end our session here, but I want you to ponder it a little bit. So I also, since this person asked about, the hair, right? His dreadlocks. Mm-hmm. I want your audience to ponder upon what is Rapunzel doing with her hair? What is Samson doing with his hair? What is going on with his hair? Come on, guys. If you look at the biblical stories and people used to honor hair, it was very powerful. We did rituals about it. They temples about hair. You look at the gods and the goddesses honoring. Look at Medusa with the hair, right? Turn the snakes in her hair.
Right.
What is that? What is that trying to tell us? What does that say? So that's what I'm trying to invoke upon all of us, is to become more aware. And if you really want to go into depth, look at the book, The Golden Elixir by Montauk Chia. So now we're going to go into the 4. So we have 4 seasons, right? Fall, winter, spring. What is nature trying to tell us? And we're going into full moon, no moon, new moon. Then we have the equinox and the solstice going on right there, right? Mm-hmm. So then we're going to come right down, because I see our time is getting close. Mm-hmm. We're going to come down to the 5 elements, and of course, you're talking about chemicals. I really want to briefly tell everyone, including myself, look, when you're buying skincare, when you're buying cosmetics, when you're buying food, when you're buying hair care, look at the ingredients. Please be responsible. Now, I've got people in the raw community eating raw, which is a huge commitment, and being natural and living a great life, and then dyeing your hair, bleaching your hair, using chemical toothpaste. So what is the big culprit here is sodium lauryl sulfate. So very briefly, in World War II, they created, from sulfuric acid, they created sodium lauryl sulfate as a degreaser for factories and engines, right?
Oh, gosh.
So do your homework, ladies and gentlemen. And Breck Shampoo came out with Breck Shampoo with this huge amount of foam, and they called it luxury shampoo. And ever since the late 40s, early 50s, people have been brainwashed to think that sodium lauryl sulfate, they didn't call it sodium lauryl sulfate, they just called it foam, luxury. But now, today, in the last 5 years, people have become terrified about the word. All the industry is like, don't you dare say sodium lauryl sulfate. So now they've created 38 different names. But anything that foams is sulfuric acid. Anything that foams is, they say it's coconut oil, they say it's olive oil, they say it's palm oil. But if you can, you can ask them, where do you derive your palm oil from? And they'll have to tell you the truth. Laboratory. Where are you getting your olive oil from? Are you getting it from an olive? No, we're getting it from a laboratory. And what is it? Sodium lauryl sulfate.
It's amazing that not only are these chemicals so prevalent in our culture, but we've been, like you said, brainwashed. Even as kids, taking baths with our mom and things, where we get the bubbles and the foaming and all that kind of stuff, and that's just really not natural. It's just something we've been taught, isn't it?
Yeah, it's basically a habit we've been taught. As being a hairdresser, that you go to the salon never teaches you anything like this. When the hairdresser, you go to your hairdresser, you expect them to be taking care of your health. I go to the dentist and I want dental care, and they're giving me Colgate toothpaste, and it's all full of sodium lauryl sulfate. Right. You go to your doctor, and what is he prescribing for you? I mean, come on, people, wake up. Raw, vegan, vegetarian, healthy people. Let's be responsible for ourselves and for our family and our loved ones and our friends, and even for our pets, even for the animals around us. Let's at least get educated, get aware, get unbrainwashed, finding out what are we putting in our bodies. If you just basically shampoo, if you put skin lotion on, or if you put on suntan lotion or sunblock, 70% is being ingested into our body. It's going into the blood, and it's winding up in our organs, right? And that's where dis-ease comes from. So if you're shampooing every day, you're shampooing for the last 20, 50, I'm 70 years old. I've been shampooing for 70 years, right?
Right.
Where's all this stuff going? Well, it's being stored. Where is it being stored? Liver, kidneys, heart, lungs, intestines. And then after a while, they start breaking down. They can't detox. They start getting they start breaking down, and it causes a dis-ease, and I don't want to get people terrified because we all know what that means. There's thousands and thousands of different types of dis-eases now. But if you really want to be powerful, you look at, the teachers that are teaching us, like Fire, or you look at Tony Robbins. You look at Dr. Andrew Weil. He has a hospital in Tucson. He's curing cancer with meditation and breath.
I know, it's amazing.
Yeah.
Curing cancer with meditation and breath.
That's amazing.
Meditation and breath.
Yeah, it's absolutely amazing. So with your products, they are raw, vegan, and like I said at the beginning, they have 92 trace minerals, which is just, I don't know of anything else that has that.
Yeah, so we're preserving Morrocco Method with the 92 trace minerals. It's a trade secret, and we also use apple cider vinegar, which we've been doing for millenniums. Raw, unpasteurized, unhomogenized, of course, it's organic. And all my products, a lot of the ingredients are wild crafted, so we have to go out into nature and harvest them, like you asked really in the beginning about, during the lunar cycle, you have to get, not only the lunar cycle, we have to get permission, so we go get the pine shale from Germany, we're getting green tea from China, we're getting the blood of the dragon, I love that ingredient, we get that from South America, and these are like, huge, tens of thousands of acres of forest that they wild craft harvest. So it's not planted by man, it's nature, and they just harvest it along with a natural rhythm, and they do it all through, and then when we actually get the ingredients in my manufacturing plant, we also mix and formulate with the lunar cycle, so it gives it, I think, Hayes, what's her name?
Wow.
Ellen Hayes?
What's that?
The woman, basically, the Hayes. Anyway, basically what we do is we actually mix our formulas and formulate them with the lunar cycle, so it actually empowers the products 10 to 20 times more strong than if we just did a date that wasn't correct.
Gosh, that's so interesting. That's so fascinating, because who else is doing this,
Right?
I don't know of any other company or people that are this in tune with health. And wow, Anthony, thank you for sharing what you're up to. And we barely got into, there's a lot of subjects that we wanted to get into. Perhaps we can do it again, but
let's answer the question. What's the most powerful food on planet Earth?
Right.
Right underneath our nose, and it's free. Right underneath our nose, it is free.
I'm guessing air, oxygen.
Yeah, you're right. So you said it before. So you can go weeks without eating food. You can go days without water, but you can't go minutes without air. And air is the most powerful food on planet Earth. So for raw, let's get into some really powerful breathing exercises and breathe in air consciously, aware, and let's also detox. So we're breathing in oxygen, right? And we're breathing out carbon dioxide, the same as nature. So what you put in your body, come on, I don't care if it's food, hair care, skin care, cosmetics, dental care, what you're putting in has to come out. So put in all raw, natural ingredients and get it out. All my hair care detoxes.
Yeah, I saw that. There's a whole thing on your website about detoxification, and especially when people first start using your products. So perhaps we can get to that next time, because we're using your products, and so I had a lot of questions about that. But that's a big name of the game, right? Detoxification.
Oh yeah, in and out. What goes in has to come out. If it doesn't come out, we're talking disease. If it comes out, we're talking health. So my motto for my whole company is our health is our wealth.
I love it. Well, thank you for spending some time with us. I know you're getting prepared for the Raw Vegan, the festival coming up, right?
Yeah, this is really exciting. This Friday, January 31st in Thousand Oaks, down near L.A. area, thousands and thousands of people are gathering from all over the world for the second Raw Expo, and happening in Thousand Oaks. So anybody interested, please come and join us. They're going to be world leaders, renowned teachers, and raw chefs from all over the world coming to show us and teach us how to be raw. I'm going to be presenting hair care. There's going to be somebody there for skin care. But it's basically all the top leaders of the world with their passion coming down to talk about raw. And Dan, the man, is going to be there, Dan McDonald and Christina, some of the world's top leaders in raw. So we're going to have the privilege of being face-to-face, live, this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in Thousand Oaks, the Raw Expo.
I love it. And does it cost to get in?
Yes, it does. They have to basically charge. You can go online and see what the costs are, but you can do a 1-day pass, you can do a 2-day pass, or a 3-day pass. But you're basically getting the world leaders to show you, and the food is going to be, they're going to feed you all day long, raw food from the greatest raw chefs in the world.
Oh, gosh, you're making me hungry already. I love it. So I know you're a busy man. You're getting ready for that event, but we're just closing up here. And is there anything that you're working on that you haven't really talked about or that you got going behind the scenes that you want to share?
Well, that's a big question. What you see is what you get. I basically am putting everything out there. There's nothing hidden agenda. It's basically the hair shaman, the evolution of being a hairdresser. Mm-hmm. And I think that, I know that all of us have talents, and I'm encouraging everyone to use your 5, senses, find your talent and go into your 6th element, which is your intuition, and live a life of passion. Like I'm 70 years old, and I certainly don't act it. I don't look it, and I don't feel it. I feel like I'm in my 20s, and I'm encouraging everyone that should be, our stepping stone into tomorrow. So what we did yesterday created today. What we're doing right now is creating tomorrow. So there's only 72 hours in my lifetime.
Wow. I love it. I love it. Wow. Well, thank you.
Great.
Yeah. Thanks for doing what you do. I was just so privileged in today's world. I mean, 30 years ago, this would never have existed. So it's just so awesome that you're doing what you do, and we can offer your products on our website and all of that. So I just really appreciate it. Thanks for spending some time on our show. I know you're getting ready for that event. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm very excited. I'm very passionate, and I'm very thrilled to share all this with all of you out there and pass it on. Share the wealth. Our health is our wealth. Share it in our community.
I love it. I love it. Okay, we are going to sign off online, and Kate and I are going to talk further off the air. But if you're interested in listening to that, you can listen to the podcast. But we're going to sign off online on the live show right now.
Okay.
Gosh, thank you for going a couple minutes over, and I'm just so thrilled to be a part of what you're doing. It's awesome.
And vice versa, we're all in the same sea, so to speak. We're all doing the same things. We're all making each other aware of all these things. We all have a talent. You guys are very talented.
Great.
Gosh, thanks for being...
That's a huge blessing.
Yeah, thanks for being so gracious. And gosh, your vitality and your energy is just, it's like...
contagious.
Yeah, it's contagious. I need some of that.
I know.
It's great.
Breathe.
I love it. Well, thank you so much. I can't tell you. We're just so honored. Thank you.
All right, Justin and Kate, great talking with you. We got to do this again, and we got to get together and as much as we can and share everything.
Excellent. Yeah, I would definitely love to do it again because I feel like we could talk about one particular subject because I've got 1,000 questions. So this was a good introduction, and maybe we can do it again.
We will. Stay healthy. Be well.
All right.
You
thanks,
too.
Anthony.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. Okay, so we are actually still recording.
Okay.
But
okay, here I am.
Wow, there's Maggie.
Oh, Maggie's up in my face.
Maggie's in your face.
Hi, Maggie.
That is just amazing, isn't it?
Wow. Golly.
Yeah.
Where to even start? I'll start.
Yes.
I can't wait to read more because being in this world, and even though I'm trying to get out of the hair world, it's still very important to be in it in regards to how we all live, and treat our bodies and our hair. And I think reading his ebook would be fascinating. Mm-hmm. There's so much more to it than I ever thought, but I thought, gosh, the one thing I've been doing for 15 years or whatever, cutting hair, I never thought about was, he was talking about the rituals that we do in our culture. Mm-hmm. And every single baby haircut I've ever done, the mom and dad bring a little envelope and they take the first lock that's cut off from the baby's head and save it for the baby book. It's like they're honoring that hair. But he posed a really great question of what are we actually doing with these rituals? Why is hair so powerful? Like, if the chi is clearly stored in the hair, I mean, there's something that happened when people started taking these, I thought of, back in the day, horrible things about scalping people, and you took the hair of your opponent and you kept it on your belt and you wore it as like the symbol of
some symbol of strength or something.
And I'm sure he probably goes into all that, but I thought in modern day, isn't that funny that we still barely trickled down to carrying a little bit of that tradition with us? And in my world, I see it, every week when I do a little baby haircut, the first baby haircut, there's pictures taken, videos, and you clip a piece of the hair and you save it. So there's something still there that obviously we know that there's some sort of power and comfort in that. And
that's interesting.
I'm very interested in that. I mean, he poses a lot of great questions.
Yeah, because I think, when he's talking, I think about things like, people, sort of, that have alopecia where they lose their eyebrows and the hair all over their body. And I wonder, maybe they would be a good candidate for some Qigong or something like that, to walk more barefoot so they're getting that Qi energy. Or, that person in the chat room brought up the dreadlocks.
That was awesome.
And I thought that was really interesting too, because if you go to Jamaica and you go to all these places, these people are they know about how the energy is stored in the hair. It's a whole spiritual thing for these people.
Right. And it is sad. I mean, in our culture, before I understood a lot of the reasons, you'd look at a guy that works at Trader Joe's or whatever with dreadlocks down to his waist, and you think, what a crazy person. Like, that's so ugly. Why would you do that? Yeah. And it's how funny that as you embark and evolve on your journey into health, you look at everything different. Now when I see that guy at Trader Joe's bagging my groceries with his dreadlocks, I'm going to think, that is actually really awesome. He's more connected probably than I could have ever guessed with his, spirituality and his health and his grounding. And there's so much more going on, and we're so quick to think things are so strange, or people are weird, or
I thought
I always like dreadlocks. I think they're cool, but I had no idea that they actually might benefit.
I know, right? The guy that was in front of me, I don't know, I'm not sure if I was sitting next to you, because we just got back from the Caribbean on a cleansing retreat, and there was a guy sitting on me in front of me, sitting on me.
I hope he was.
There wasn't enough seats, so he was sitting on me. I do lap sitting, people sit on my lap. But it was this black guy who was sitting in front of me, and I'm not sure if you were sitting next to me, is what I was going to say, but he had this huge dreadlocks. Did you see that guy?
I didn't see him, no.
He had just the most incredible, huge dreadlocks, and I just thought that was so cool.
That hair, I love it. I've always kind of liked it for that culture. But I love seeing these just white dudes cruise around town, with their dreadlocks. I think there's something really beautiful about it. And I'm curious, so many levels now.
I'm curious for myself, because like I said during the show, I'm thinning quite a lot. And I feel like at some point I'll have to shave my head. But I wonder if that's... if that would be bad because of the Qi, or if that...
Good question.
Because I'd rather shave my head than, have a thing around the side and all that. But, I know that he's worked with people with thinning hair, with men and women. So I'm going to look into doing some things with that, because I've never heard a guy like him talk about this kind of thing at such a deep level.
Well, I wonder, he didn't even get into, we definitely need him back on, but I wonder if Qigong can restore that altogether, because you're moving your Qi. I wonder if it's possible to actually regrow and thicken hair in places that you didn't have it. Anything can happen.
I wanted to ask him about gray hair too.
I had so many questions about that, because I've had a couple clients, that you mentioned the alopecia, where the hair falls out and can come back, and I've had people that grow in, that the hair actually regrows after those stressful times in life, and they lose patches of hair, and it grows in completely unpigmented, completely white.
Oh wow!
It's not even gray; it's white.
Yeah, are those the people that have sort of like a little circle spot of just gray hair, right?
Well, sometimes that could be a birthmark. I know little 3-year-old girls that have a streak of gray in their hair, and it comes out of their scalp like more of a birthmark type situation.
So if you were to shave their head or get rid of all their hair, you would see an actual birthmark on the scalp?
Well, I don't know. I don't think so. But there's something in little tiny children that are having these it's not very common, but I've seen it. I don't know. From when I've cut their hair, I don't see an actual spot, but it's growing, in a little round, circle pattern coming out of the scalp. So there's something going on there.
Wow.
It makes me think it's more of like a birthmark type situation.
That is so interesting.
That's coming out in their hair. I have no idea.
I wonder if gray hair is when people lose Qi. in their hair. But I also wonder too, I don't know. I mean, he has some gray hair, Anthony. And so I would imagine it's much more natural to keep your gray hair than it is to color your hair, because he doesn't color his hair.
I wonder if that's also two things. I wonder if it's reversible to some extent when you're mineralized properly. And I also wonder, I mean, you see the people get gray. I mean, we've all heard that stress, cannot help in the situation as far as gray hair goes. So if you're really, really, really stressed, you're going through a crazy time, you get a bunch of gray hair.
Right.
I wonder if that can reverse itself when you go back into a more
peaceful life.
Or if your cheese is completely gone. If you've used up that, you were stressed for 3 years, you were in medical school, you had something crazy stress-wise, and that cheese gone, I wonder if that's why your hair would continue to stay without pigment. I have no idea.
Well, look at all the U.S. presidents. I mean,
well, right.
They just go gray in a year.
Right.
And I'm not sure if people are familiar with the pro surfer Rob Machado, but he has, if you are, I mean, his hair is just, I mean, he's got more hair in 1 square inch of his head than I have on my whole head. I would love to
Me
have
too.
that hair. But he's got this crazy kind of curly fro, but it's blonde,
I love his hair.
Kind of blonde, sandy brown. It's just awesome looking.
Yeah.
I would love to have that hair. But I read somewhere in an interview that he did that at one point in his life, I think as a teenager, he always had straight hair. Or maybe it was into his early 20s, his hair was always straight. And then someone convinced him, or he lost a bet, how they...
Right, to shave his head or something?
Yeah, he lost some bet or something. And what happened was he had to shave his head. And when it grew back this crazy curl.
Jeez.
I mean, stuff like that happens.
That trips me out. That happens, and then you also, on another side note, you get cancer and people go the traditional routes of chemotherapy. They lose all their hair, and then their hair grows back either completely different texture or different color.
Yeah,
I mean, stuff's going on. Your hair, there is so much more going on with your hair than... I mean, I've been in this world for, like I said, 15 or more years, and it's the first time you think about things like this.
Isn't that crazy? You don't learn about this. But you know what? It's not like... once you start waking up to life and how the world really works, you start understanding, you start seeing, how economics works and how politics really works and how health really works and how all these different subjects, like even something like hair, you understand how it really works. And it's just interesting that, you would think that, oh, wow, why don't they teach us this? But it's in their best interest to not teach this stuff, because if they did, entire industries would collapse. It would screw the economy up. So,
right.
It's
the non-lather movement would cause a big...
I know, people would be in the streets, right?
Right.
Marching.
Right.
But we've been using these products, and for the first time, I have to say that I used it. I've never really heard of products that didn't lather, and so I used it. And I'm thinking, what the heck is going on? It's not lathering.
Right.
But there's actually you know about this because...
I've done it for a few years. But
yeah. Lots of people know about, shampoos that don't lather. I didn't know.
It's called the no poo movement.
That's right.
It is. People don't like that because it sounds like another word, but no poo.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, so I was shocked when they didn't do that, and I thought something was wrong. But there's actually a lot of people, that don't wash their hair, very frequently at all.
Right.
And that's
our brother-in-law did an experiment. Actually, do you remember that?
I do. And
I don't remember how long he didn't wash his hair for, but it looked great.
And that's another thing that we've been taught that we need to do every day is strip our hair of the oils. It's
squeaky clean. Everything's sanitized and squeaky clean.
It's amazing because you think of this and you think, okay, God created our bodies to work in a certain way, and these oils are on our skin, they're on our scalp, right? As part of our immune system. It's like the outer oils contain the beneficial bacteria. Mm-hmm. And so when you strip all of that off, it's almost like stripping out all of the beneficial bacteria and internal flora, which is our immune system, from our gut. But we strip it off our skin, right, with antibacterials and stuff.
Oh, gosh.
So we think we're somehow got this better grasp on life. We strip all that off every day, and then our body has to create more of it. But then what we do is we say, oh, the oil that our body creates is not good enough. I need to moisturize. Right?
With a bunch of chemicals. And buy some sodium lauryl sulfate and throw it back on my skin.
I know. God's oil is not good enough. The oil that is created in our body is not good enough. So I need to put some chemicals on, some man-made chemicals from the store on. I mean, it's just, it's really weird.
It's a mind shift. I mean,
yeah.
The minute that your mind does that huge shift, it's like there's no going back.
Yeah.
Everything starts to become illuminated. And
I love this whole world, because no matter what you learn about, it's some new industry or some new way, you start thinking about life in a whole new way,
Don't you, though?
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
You know what I'm thinking about?
What's that?
How Maggie has 3 dreadlocks underneath her little puppy ears.
Oh, does she?
And because we didn't brush her for the 2.5 weeks we were out of town.
Yeah.
And now she looks like Tina Turner.
Wow, really?
Well, she looks like she has a mix between Bob Marley and Tina Turner going on, so I think that's what I'm going to be working on today, Maggie's hair.
Maggie's hair.
No.
How funny is that?
Yeah. Well, which brings us to another subject, too, about, animals, like he was talking about, and I'm wondering about the animal grooming.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many roads to go down, but that was fascinating.
Yeah, I had on my list of notes, oily hair, dandruff, how often we should wash our hair. I wanted to talk to him about the Brazilian blowouts.
I wanted to ask that too, and I also wanted to ask about just way more health ramifications of people in my industry. I wanted to talk about what exact chemicals are in the hair dyes that are torturing us so much.
Damaging, yeah.
As well as, what was my other question? I had a really good one for him.
I also wanted to talk to him about the water. Like the fluoride and the chemicals that are in the water that strip the hair.
Oh gosh, right?
The chlorine, the chloramines.
Chloramine.
All these harsh, hard waters that strip the oils off your hair, and shampooing. Even if you're using his product and you're washing your hair in this water, is going to be damaging.
Right. Well, we'll have him back on.
Yeah, the hair shaman.
The hair shaman. You guys should definitely check out his site. We've checked it out, and there's so much information there that I'm still trying to wade through. I mean, reading the ebook it's going to be a task with what little amount of time I seem to have getting back from this trip, but I will delve into that. And especially in my industry, I need to be educated. So
yeah, well, you're going to be getting out of your industry.
All right, we'll talk about that on our next Free for All Friday show, because that's been quite an exciting time for me.
Quite an exciting time. If you guys are interested in his products, his website is MorroccoMethod.com, and we like to be forthright and let you guys know what's going on. We do create links on our website, and some of them are affiliate links, and some are just easy to remember so that you could remember them easily. We are an affiliate for his products, and we've been using them, and we really think he's just an amazing guy doing great stuff. So if you want to just buy them directly from him and not support us, that's okay too. You can go to MorroccoMethod.com, or we'll put a link to his website on our show page here, 196. And basically, the link is extremehealthradio.com/M for Mary, or for Morocco, and M for method. So extremehealthradio.com/MM.
Right.
And that will just take you over there if you want to buy any of his products. But
yeah, and it does take, honestly, it does take a little while if you've never been exposed to the non-lather shampoos. It's definitely a different experience. I remember not using his product, but a couple of years ago trying out a different brand. And you do feel like you don't know if it's clean. You can't tell if it's extra greasy. It just feels different. I think it's your hair just recalibrating itself. And you have to be okay with that going, this is going to be a different experience, and be open to it, because, I mean, how much more natural can you get than Anthony Morocco's method? It's raw, it's vegan. GMO.
Organic. GMO free.
The guy's got it covered. I mean,
and 92 trace minerals. He picks these herbs
at the
out the moon cycle.
It's crazy.
I mean,
it's crazy in such a cool way. No one else is doing what he's doing, and no one else. I mean, his level of care and thought, and his method is truly a method that no one else that I know of is doing. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
Check it out for yourselves.
Yeah, it's really good stuff. And so keep up to date with our website. We're going to be doing some giveaways. Our goal is to do a giveaway every single month. And for any given month, you can go to extremehealthradio.com/win, WIN, like winning the giveaway. And you can sign up to receive our free ebook, Lessons from the Miracle Doctors, which is an amazing ebook. I think it's a couple hundred pages. I read it a couple years ago when we first got it, and you can get it on Amazon for, I think, $20 or something, but we give it to you for free. And when you do that, you'll also be signed up to win that month's giveaway. So right now we're giving away a free Squatty Potty. So if you're interested in that, you can just go to extremehealthradio.com/win, and you can sign up and enter to win the contest. And then you can share it with your Facebook friends, and you can earn more points if you share it, if you tweet it, and things like that. You can earn more of a chance to win. And every month we'll be doing that.
It's exciting. I can't wait to see what kind of stuff we're going to be giving.
I know. It's cool, huh?
I mean, you and I have an idea, but...
Yeah, we've got some things up our sleeve. So if you'd like to follow us on Facebook, you can do so, extremehealthradio.com/Facebook. We'd love to have you join our community on there. And as you know, all of our shows are free. This is 196th show, and we kind of exist on your support. So if you wanted to donate or buy through any of our links on Amazon, or check out our store, any of our products, your support means the world to us. So if you want to support us, that will enable us to keep doing these types of shows for you and bringing you guests like Anthony Morrocco and Dr. Ed Group recently, and all these amazing people. So if you can do that, spare a couple extra dollars, $5, $10, $15, that would just be so helpful to us.
It really does mean the world. It keeps us going over here. And
yeah, because it's exciting. The costs are going up, and each month. So if you can, that would be amazing. If not, please just share our show with your friends, anyone who you think might be interested. And I think that's about it, right?
That's a wrap.
That's a wrap, folks.
As we say in this industry.
Do we? I don't know.
That's a lather.
That's a lather.
Thanks, guys, for listening. That was a blast. We're so happy to be back with you. And we are so excited you're joining us in the chat room. It's so fun to start interacting.
Yeah, you can listen live and chat.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you for listening to this episode.
It's time to go for now, but our mission does not end with this show.
Justin and Kate will be back with another interview packed full of ideas, discoveries, and unique ways to regain your health.
Head on over to extremehealthradio.com/subscribe and instantly download our free gift too, that contains cutting-edge strategies to start making healthy lifestyle changes today.
No material on this blog is intended to suggest that you should not seek professional medical care. Always work with qualified medical professionals, even as you educate yourself in the field of live food nutrition and alternative medicine. I'm not a doctor, nor am I offering readers or listeners medical advice of any kind. None of the information offered here should be interpreted as a diagnosis of any disease, nor an attempt to treat or prevent any disease or condition. While information in this blog and during this podcast is discussed in the context of numerous conditions, it can be dangerous to take action based on any of the information on this podcast or in this blog, or to start any health program without